Hey everybody, I'm Bill, the company's expert, and welcome to Q&A. Today we're looking at the best answer to the job interview question, what other companies are you interviewing with? Or for those of us who don't end a sentence on a preposition, are you actively interviewing? Okay, there's many forms of this question. They can phrase it a whole bunch of different ways, like where else are you interviewing? What types of jobs are you applying for? Are you applying for other positions? What opportunities are you also considering? You know, things like this. They can phrase it different ways. It's all the same question, and we always give the same answer. Now, short answer, I recommend that you answer no. Okay? Are you actively interviewing? No. What other companies are you interviewing with? None to speak of, or none worth speaking of. Okay? Now, if you can bear to listen to me for a little longer, I'll explain the reasoning. First of all, doubt is cast over whether recruiters really have the right to ask you this. I mean, in all honesty, it's none of their business. They're asking you about something you're doing with somebody else. A reasonable person would be okay with you not just giving them full and complete information on this. So that's kind of the thing that underscores a lot of our answer here. Now, as I said, I recommend that when you get asked this question, you say, no, I'm not interviewing with any other companies. Now, the reasoning behind this is because recruiters are looking for a candidate with no issues. They're looking for someone with no strings attached, no problems, everything is green across the board, right? That's what they're looking for. Now, if you were to answer this question with a yes, okay? So they ask you, what other companies are you interviewing with? And you were to say something like, well, I'm interviewing with several other companies. There's 3 other companies that I'm in a late stage interview process with, and I'm expecting 2 job interviews imminently. If you were to say something like that, that's going to signal 2 things to the recruiter. Number one, it's going to signal that, they're competing with other companies to get you. And it's also going to signal that they better hurry up. If they're going to give you a job offer, they better do it soon before you get snapped up by another company. Okay? Now, these are issues, okay? The company is going to have to adapt to this. They're either going to have to hurry up and accelerate their process to give you a job offer, or they're going to have to offer you more compensation than they perhaps would have otherwise, okay? And those are issues, okay? Now, if this question is asked at a late stage and they have pretty much already decided that you're the one that they want, okay, then this is less of a problem, okay? However, in my experience, this question is usually asked at the beginning of the process, okay, at the beginning of your first interview. And at that point, apart from perhaps your resume, they don't really know anything about you. So they haven't made up their mind that they want to hire you yet. So when you say yes to this question, instead of making yourself look good like you're in demand, instead it just raises a bunch of issues and it makes you look less good, okay? That's the main reason why I advocate you answering with a no. Now, another interesting point is that when you answer with a no, there's a couple of opportunities here. First of all, it's an opportunity for you to get a couple of brownie points by saying, no, I'm not really interviewing with anybody else. I'm interested in this job. I'm excited about this job. I want to see where this job goes first. And, that makes you look good. You certainly have the right attitude, right? Now, the other opportunity here is that if you have a big work gap, a long work gap, okay? So you've been out of work for a while. It's been a while since your last job, maybe a year, maybe more than a year, okay? And you're worried that this might raise some questions. Often it does. Often when recruiters see that, it does raise some questions. They think, well, Is there a reason why this person hasn't been working in such a long time? Is there something wrong with them that we don't know? That raises some red flags for them. If you answer no to this question, it's an opportunity for you to address that. If they say, what other companies are you interviewing with? And you say, well, none to speak of. I've been out of work. I was focusing on my family. I took some time to focus on my family. Then I took some time to focus on some personal development goals. Okay. And only now am I sort of getting back into the job search routine. And in fact, that's what brings me here now. So when you say something like that, obviously that's an example, but something like that, that gives you the opportunity to explain and justify the work gap. Okay, so that's one useful opportunity for when you answer a no to this question. Okay. Now, some people advocate that you say yes to this question, and that does make sense in some situations because this is not really a one-size-fits-all answer. You can't really do a one-size-fits-all answer to this question. Okay? People advocate that if they ask you what other companies are you interviewing with, you say, oh, I'm interviewing with a bunch of companies, and then you tell them about those companies. First thing, okay, if you do say that, never ever give names, okay? Don't give the name of the companies, and don't give the names of the HR contacts that you have at those companies for a variety of reasons. Okay, this is bad. Okay, if you are being honest and you do have all these different things on the go, it has been known that recruiters who talk to other recruiters can sabotage opportunities. That doesn't happen often, but it does happen. Okay. The other thing is that if you were, shall we say, massaging the truth, which I don't necessarily advocate for, they can verify what you're saying. So, for a variety of reasons, don't give names. Okay. Now, the reasoning behind saying yes to this question, okay, is similar to what I said at the beginning. And that is that if they like you and they've pretty much almost made up their mind that they want to hire you, this can help light a fire, okay, under them to get them moving, to get them give you a job offer quickly, and to get them to offer more money than they would have under other circumstances. Okay, so it can fulfill that function if they've already made their mind up that they want you. Okay, so if they ask this at a very late stage and you already have a very good feeling about it, then maybe it might make sense to say yes to this question, in my opinion. Now, what I want to say here is maybe a little bit sensitive, and that is that something I've noticed is that a lot of recruiters who give advice on how to answer job interview questions, okay, it's funny to me how a lot of them tend to recommend that you give full and complete information to the recruiter. You tell them everything they want to know and all will be well with you. That's kind of the general message. And, it's interesting that the recruiter is telling you to do that. Now, what I find interesting is that some people look at a job interview and they see it as two people, you and the recruiter, with a common goal. The recruiter wants to see if you're a fit. You want to see if the company is a fit. Okay, you have a common goal. And therefore, you should work together. And therefore, you should be honest about everything and give full and complete information about everything. Okay? Now, that does have a certain logic to it. However, based on my experience being on both sides of the table quite a lot, and the experience of a lot of my students over the past several years who have shared their job search experience with me, that's not, in practical terms, what we often see with a job interview. We see two people with totally conflicting goals. We see a recruiter trying to hire somebody for cheap as possible, and we see a candidate that's trying to get the company to give them as much money as possible. Okay? As one example of completely conflicting goals. Okay? And that essentially becomes a negotiation. And the other person becomes your opponent. And in that type of situation, the dynamic is that you don't give them any more information about yourself than you can absolutely get away with. Because if you did, it's bad for you. Okay? Now, I know I'm going to get some flack in the comments for saying this, but that's my recommendation. If you haven't gathered by watching any of my other videos, I advocate that the recruiter is not your friend. The recruiter is someone that can misinterpret signs, that can make erroneous judgments based on first impressions, and someone who makes a decision with, a tiny amount of information about you. And that explains the usually poor quality of recruiters' decisions. And this is coming from someone who teaches recruiters. So that helps explain perhaps why also I advocate for a no on this question. If they want to know where else you're applying, you don't give that information. You just say, no, I'm not applying anywhere else, nothing to speak of. Next question. So hopefully that makes sense. Thank you very much for your attention. You're awesome for listening to this long. It's been a long, rambling video. I apologize for that. But thank you very much. I will see you on the next one. Bye.